Hello and welcome to End Zone Now. Today seeing the release of Judge Jane Farish's reserved judgment on Pike River Coal. She found 9 breaches of health and safety regulations caused the deadly explosion which took 29 lives in November 2010. In her 64-page document, Judge Farish outlines a catalogue of errors, omissions and negligence which resulted in the tragedy. The End Zone Now hot seat isn't here in the Auckland studio. Today it's in Greymouth, where I spoke to the representative of the Pike River victims' families, Bernie Monk. He told me that health and safety in New Zealand has become a matter of justice for all New Zealand workers, and that's now a priority for the families.
Our biggest point from now on is to make sure that these things that they have put in place are actually acted upon and are put in place, because it's all very well to say, here, say so, and nothing ever gets done about it. So that's our next challenge, that's our next thing that the Pike River families have got to make sure. And we've always told all the authorities that we're going to make things happen, and I think along with all the workshops that they've had throughout New Zealand, with all the powers to be, and with our families, I think we're going to get there.
And it's interesting that now what's happened is that the whole thing's expanded to look at the health and safety of workers, not just in mining, but in all sorts of industries.
Yeah, I think the man in the workplace has been sadly let down, not only at Pike River. Well, Pike River was a disaster for the working man. But we have a look at all the other things that are going wrong in the country at the moment. We've got the farming sector is struggling. We've got the forestry sector is struggling, and all these things. So what we're doing is going to improve their situation, and training has got to be put in these areas, and I don't think we've got the training stature in these areas yet. So I think that's going to be a big thing, and that we've helped along in that degree, I think, yeah.
Did you imagine this is the way that it would go?
Not really. I mean, who would have said nearly we're going on to 3 years coming up, and I'm still on the Pike River scene, no, listen, I didn't think for one moment, but it's been a really good learning exercise for me. It's made me sort of appreciate how bad things were, and how I've even got to put my own business into Australia. I mean, Pro Hotel has had safety meetings, and who would have thought that hotels would have to go to that degree? And when we step back and had a look at our own situation, there was a lot of things that needs to be covered, even in our industry. So, it's been a learning curve for me as well.
How did you personally cope? Because you were at the centre of a media storm, you were at their beck and call 24 hours a day. Was that hard for you?
Oh, I had a great support team around me, the families themselves, my family. The lawyers have been great supporting, and they want exactly the same things that, that I'm voicing, and they've been the driving force, and I think this job had to be done, someone had to start it, and with all their help we've made it happen.
And also you were dealing with your own grief.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy. I admit I've done a lot of crying by myself, and I still get emotionally upset on things. But we've got to move on, and I think we have moved on. I think that's helped me move on in this.
Do you think that's one of the things that's helped the families cope, the fact that they know that something's being done?
I think so. I think it's helped them, be part of it, be putting something. Their men are going to be remembered, and I think that's happening. But the continuous meeting has helped some of them moved on. But I'm telling you now, a lot of the families are still struggling, and they've got children and things like that. Those are the ones, and I look into their eyes all the time, and the pain that I can see from some of the mothers and children themselves. They're still struggling with this, and it's easy for people to say, oh, move on. But, the hurt's still there. They haven't got the people in the houses like, I've got my family behind me, but some of these people that are trying to run households and their number one man, the breadwinner of their family, is gone. And they've still got children to bring up. So it hasn't been easy for them. And I think the people outside don't really realise that, because once an incident like this happens, everyone's at the driving point, you know, for the first few months and maybe first year. And then people taper off because they think, oh, they were okay, but they're not okay. And that's where our little group helped them through the difficult times.
What do you say to families in that situation? What words do you find?
Well, I think just talking them through their problems, and if there's any way I can put them in the right direction, like sometimes they need, you know, some of the families have never been paid out their monies, you know, that were given to them from the country. They've never been paid out, and some of them have nearly lost their houses and things like this. I mean, people think, oh, you moved on. And then, and some of them, you know, they just talking to them and helping them, giving them advice, getting to the right lawyers, you know, and all this sort of thing. And I think just other people caring. And I think the community of the West Coast are very caring people. They support one another. And in a small community like this, you know, they go to schools, and I know that the teachers at the schools are helping them in some way, and the parents of those people at the schools are helping them, and then sometimes you might say to people around them, just let them know that they're struggling a wee bit, and they sort of go out of their way and do things. That's how it's done.
You've been dealing with the Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, officials, all sorts of experts. You must have felt enormous pressure at times.
Oh yeah, sometimes I sort of think to myself, can I go on? And you know, I think, you know, my family's been a big driving force behind that. My son and daughter, and I know my wife has always been a driving force behind that. And I know the families have relied on me tremendously, and with the help of Colin, my brother-in-law, who's one of the lawyers from the Commission, who's still doing an extremely good job behind the scene, and the other lawyers too, are, you know, like Nick Davison and that, and they're still helping in this area. And we've got a lot of work to do. We've still got a long way to go. People might think, oh, it's all over, but there's still a long way to go here. And I think that's helped me through it. It's helped me carry on. There's been the odd time where I've nearly thrown the towel in, but it's just those, you talk to the miners around here and they say, Bernie, don't give up. You get people that come up to you in the street and say, don't give up, and then you think, well, maybe they're right. Maybe they, you know, give it another month, and another month, and it's gone on to another year, and it's gone on to another year, and we're nearly on to our third year. And we still haven't been down the mine.
Do you think that will happen?
I think so. Yeah, and in very short time, we're going to get down that mine. There's no two ways about that. And I know that people think, oh, we're never going to get anything, but we're going to get closure. We're going to get answers. And I think it's not only important that the families get answers and maybe put some of their, you know, people to rest, but also for the sake of the country to answer a lot of questions that came up in the Commission. You know, there are still unanswered questions there. And I know from areas and from the pictures that I've seen underground, we're going to get answers. There's no two ways about that.
Do you think that will give people closure?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I know a lot of the families have moved on considerably. They still have their crying times, and they still are angry, but they have moved on significantly. It's only natural that, you know, and people think that we should go away. But I think we've got a long journey ahead of us, and I'm confident in the team that we've put together with the experts that we've brought in from overseas, and now the government have brought experts on board that are going to help us. I think we're going to get closure to what we are.
Did you see the prosecution, such as it was, of companies and officials as beneficial? Like,
they haven't prosecuted everyone to the degree that they should have, because all these companies can hide behind, namely one thing like ACC. ACC take over, And that's one of the most hurtful things that have come out of this for me. They're an over-glorified insurance company in my eyes. These big companies, these multi-million-dollar companies, can come into the country, blow a mine up, kill people, and they can step out the next day and not worry about us and leave us the pieces to pick up. That's the one thing that really hurts me, and that's one of the things that the families have really gone on with, and I can see that it's going to change. So, you know, that's a good thing. But I think the whole idea of, you know, prosecutions, we've still got an opportunity. I think we've had a commission that was very damning. We had a Valley Long Haul that wanted to be discharged without conviction and got a tap on the wrist, and their men died down there without them doing anything to save them. You know, they had no gas monitoring, none of this, none of that, and they wanted discharge without conviction. It was just a joke. And then at that same thing, because of the law structure, the victims weren't allowed to do impact statements because the law didn't allow the families of those guys in that department to be able to do that. Now that's wrong. And then we go on with Pike River. Well, it's easy way out for them. They just plead guilty. They've got no money, and they're not going to they'll just get a tap on the wrist and work away, and it's slowly going down the chain. We've got a Labor Department that said to us, look, families, we're really sorry, we've let your men down, but no one's accountable for this. And I can see this going right through to the end trail, and it's wrong. And I know if somebody died at Para Hotel, and I'd get nailed to the wall, I might as well close my doors and walk away. They lost 29 men down there through negligence of a lot of people and a lot of departments and a lot of corporates, and they're not getting the penalties against them that they should be getting. And that's probably one of the most hurtful things that I'll die to my grave thinking that these people have got away with this. It's been swept under the carpet, and I think that's really one of the driving points of the families. They're going to take the whole hog, maybe not get the prosecutions that we deserve, but at least they'll be remembered, it'll be documented how poorly we've been treated.
A call for justice there from Pike River's family spokesman, Bernie Monk. What do you think? Do you agree that health and safety in this country has become an issue for New Zealand workers? Has ACC proved to be a get-out-of-jail card for employers? We'd love to know what you think. You can email us at endzonenow, all one word, at shinetv.co.nz. Our sister programme, Endzone Focus, will be bringing you a special programme about Pike River in a few weeks' time. In the meantime, this week's Endzone Focus features the young South Auckland police officer whose faith has seen him go above and beyond the call of duty. And Chief Coroner Judge Neil McLean talks about a subject he believes we need to bring out into the open. So that's Endzone Focus, but for now, from the Endzone Now team, ka kite anō.